All right. If you're in my situation, I've noticed details. Um, I went out for a walk and there were zero views of this. And I came back. I wasn't sure I was gonna be able to if I got some strange views or something like. Even though would be normal, I just I don't know, I'm a little bit not up for it, but it's interesting. It looks like there were three views of one of the videos, and there was zero when I left, and I think I subscribed to two people. Okay. Now here's the thing. Although it's exhausting to talk about my situation, just from but there's a kind of a side to this that is still my situation, but I want to let's say something about it. And there's really an endless amount to say on this kind of topic. But this is something that I'd like to share, and this is what I've seen that is interesting to me. Now, here's the thing. What happened with my family and these doctors? You know, I assumed that was really, I mean, the kind of people they were, the kind of person he was. I assumed that I was relatively safe from that kind of thing, in a sense that can't be like a mainstream phenomenon. I mean, these were the whole thing was, whatever. Now, I'll get to later that they had pushed me into they were walking me through some kind of nightmare, and I didn't know why. And when I ended up living in a hotel and all this shit, and I needed to go and heal. I mean, somewhere. And the thing is, like, I knew, but they came up with a recommendation, and they said, well, we thought maybe and I realized that that's what it had been leading up to, that they thought it seemed like that this was all a big thing to see if they could put me in some kind of this particular treatment place that. Now I want to say something about this because it's what I saw in there that's interesting. Now I had never ever been in any kind of psychiatric facility, never liked psychiatrists, and the only thing I've ever been diagnosed with, and even at this place, which was pure psychiatry, the diagnosis was cumulative trauma. Uh, I've been diagnosed with PTSD, cumulative trauma, complex PTSD. At that place, it was cumulative trauma. Never been diagnosed with one of these mental illnesses, and never been in a psychiatric hospital until this thing. So he said, well, why don't you go to this place? Well, I looked, and I said, okay. Well, first of all, this is like some kind of, I mean, in the mainstream. Because of the price tag, it's, as you say, well, most people don't know places like that exist, but to the extent that this is not something, secret or something, this is probably in the mainstream for that kind of thing. And, well, of course, I didn't think for a minute they believed me about what had happened, but the point is, I'm going there. Clearly, I live with traumatic stress. And I said, well, I'll use this to my advantage because it was the most unusual thing and I found out what it is and why this exists anyway, but that's what I saw there that's interesting. It was a place. It's amazing. I mean, people apparently live there. You can live. It's like to call it an open setting is not to understand. I mean, it's really unusual. I mean, you could come and go as you please. You live in I mean, it's just a. People could have a car. They had a job in the town. You didn't have to participate in anything. You had a free. And my initial thought was, Jesus Christ. I mean, this was. It's like some kind of some kind of commune or something. I don't know. I mean, this is amazing. It's probably, if someone had the money, I imagine they'd stay there forever. I mean, it's like out of the world, and that's really interesting. But I thought this will be a good place to figure this out. And I didn't know what kind of people I'd see there. And what I found out first of all is what it actually is for. I was the only person there, I think, who'd never been in a place like that. Now there was one other guy, but this is actually what it's supposed to be for. Is for these people that I'd known existed all my life, which is people who, from an early age, did not distrust psychiatry, and that it was an integral part of their family or whatever. and that when they're having emotional problems or whatever, they want to go to the psych hospital, and that's, you know, regular, and they often feel like they might kill themselves and this kind of thing. So these are people that have been in locked psychiatric wards, or maybe can't take care of themselves. Okay, and this is the privilege for them. Like, this is a place that they can live, they can have a car, that they're treated with respect. You know, this is a big special thing for people who have been through the psychiatric matrix. So I was not familiar with this type of person at all. I understood then I understood why the place looked that way. Oh, I see, it's like dignified. I mean, I understood, but it was irritating to me. But I understood. But what kind of people are there? And this was, because I thought maybe this will be interesting. Or people, maybe it would be very strange, or they let people be who they want. I don't know. No, it was interesting. These are what they call normal paths. I mean, these are people who are, well, first of all, to the degree that they're mentally ill at all, you know, a lot of this was a bit childish. I mean, you know, these were not mentally ill people. These really, people thought the world ran on their feelings, and they just, you know, just, I mean, but it's a certain type of person. They're not very mature in a lot of ways. Okay. But, and this was amazing, because I want to tell you something, this was a mainstream place considering everything. Like, you know, what was going on with these people, that was some bugged out shit that everyone says, I don't know what that was. This is a place people have heard of, you know, it's a psychiatry type place. And what I saw in there was amazing, because I always wondered about that, but there it was. And here's the thing, yeah, like, there really is a system by which certain types of families who I did have the means are covering up abuse. And I just one anecdote that was really interesting. I mean, it wasn't interesting. It's just, I mean, it was really, there's a young woman came in there, she was 19, and she's really smart, but she said she has something called Asperger's syndrome. So, okay. And, you know, at one time, she mentioned, I was alone in the room with her while we were watching the film, and she was so young. I mean, it was just like we were in the same room watching the film. We didn't have much to talk about, but she said to me, very casually, that she had a brother that was much older than her, and that all her life he had molested her, sexually molested her, but that what the doctors and her family were had helped her understand is that didn't happen. That this is because she has Asperger's syndrome. That she thinks that is incorrect. That her brother did not molest her. And she said that without irony and without any. I mean, she said it in what tone she said it, as though that was defined. And you know, I certainly didn't know what to say. I mean, I wasn't going to say anything. It was too alien. I said, holy moly. That's fucking twisted, because of course she's too. I looked up Asperger's syndrome. I think one of the cruelest twists is it involves the inability to understand irony. But I mean, okay, she's not educated enough or old enough to realize that that is simply false. I mean, that can't be. That someone imagined that the brother sexually molested them, but it's a mistake. They have Asperger's. That's what they're helping her understand. She said, you know, I said, oh, that's fucked up, and I knew that happened. Okay, now. I saw that coming around. There's 1,000 other nuggets like that. They're covering up abuse. Now here's two other interesting tidbits. What goes on there? Because I was kind of anti this whole thing. First of all, I found it really strange that at first the people there, the idea of someone who had a negative appraisal of psychiatry was considered really. I mean, these were people that were like. These are people that haven't gotten much out in the world or something. I mean, they simply weren't familiar with someone that didn't think much of psychiatry or didn't trust. I mean, they just didn't know what that was and thought that's someone that doesn't, you know, that isn't going to get help. And well, that's amazing, you know, because I did. By the way, I had a fine relationship with the. I mean, I didn't. It's not a matter of that. It's just, you know, I was suspicious of it. But one of the interesting things is that over the time, people did come there, didn't belong in there, and there wasn't anyone to say anything to them, and there was a couple of instances, a girl who came in and she you know, it was really, she was not doing okay, and she was getting more and more upset, and she was asking people, I don't know what to do, and this and that, and just getting bad advice from people who weren't really well. And what had happened is her father had died. She'd gotten out of college, and her father had died. And then he'd taken care of her whole life. She didn't know what to do with her life, and her father was dead. And you know, and she kept saying, I don't belong in here. I don't know. They say I'm bipolar. And I took a walk with her, and I said, listen, first of all, you're not going to hear this from anyone else, but I really don't know why your mother put you in here. Like, you know, you need to go somewhere and grieve. Your father died. She says, no, but see, I have bipolar. I said, listen, you go to one of these recovery centers, they're familiar with that. It's not that they're not, it's just, but they'll work with you on grief. And you can meet other people that are not like these people, but that are people that are kind and that will work, you know, but this, you're getting worse and worse. You're in the wrong place, you know. And that was a nice thing for me to do, and it did, and she did help her, in a way. I mean, it did help her, but there was another woman, and this is really the only two times this happened, but there was another woman, but what's happened to me is what's interesting. There's another woman who was an elderly woman, and again, it was her husband had died. She moved in with her older daughter and the husband. And that was really creepy when they brought her in, because she really didn't feel like she needed to be there. And they were moving their stuff in, and I saw two things that really were weird. One is that the husband, that's her, I guess, son-in-law, you know, he's putting their stuff in the room, and I was standing there, and he looked up at me, and man, did he have a shit-eating grin on his face. And now, you know, like, he was really, this was really cool for him. They're going to put her away. They don't have to deal with her. And then I'm out in the hallway. There's her elder daughter, probably in her 40s. And boy, she's talking to the nurses and psychiatrists, just using all kinds of psychiatric terminology that's not hers. Oh, yes, my mother, see, she has a paranoid ideation, and that she's just busting out all these words, and it was very fake. And they're locking the old woman up. Okay, fine. But where else is she going to go? I don't know, a rest home. So the thing is, though, but she was being treated in there, you know, like, I don't know, but they were treating her one like she was senile or like a little girl. And she started to be like, I don't know where I don't know who I am and all this stuff. So I said to her, listen, you keep looking for someone to tell you that, like, you're in the wrong place, and this isn't that kind of place. They're not going to tell you that. I said, listen, if you want to think you're in the wrong place, you got to decide privately in your own mind. But you keep looking for validation, it's going to get worse. You decide, but decide soon, because this could get really bad. I mean, if you continue, you know, I mean, just think about it yourself, you know. And she really thanked me for that, and it really helped her and that way and everything. Well, here's the thing. I got called before a kind of committee, some kind of staff, and I was called into all kinds of things, because apparently they use, like, some of the patients as type of, like, snitches or something. Or they came in, they wanted to know why I was encouraging people to leave. And I told them the situation and everything, and they really interrogated me on it. And I said, you know, and I was really, I said, this is really weird. I mean, it's not a cult. I mean, it's a treatment center. I mean, I've been to all kinds of treatment centers. People come in, it's not the right place. You know, that's an unusual culture, that a patient snitch out that you did that, and they call you before a panel. Why are you doing this? That you're convincing people to leave their treatment. I thought that was startling, but what was even more startling is right after that, whole series of things happened. Number one, they moved my room. They knew I had a big room, and I needed a lot of space, because traumatized people need a lot of space. They get claustrophobic. Okay, they said, we're going to be doing some construction, we have to move your room. As I was moved to an incredibly tiny claustrophobic room, where they shared the bathroom with some other guy. And let me tell you something, I don't know if they were doing construction over there, but they sure were outside the window of this room. I mean, they were jackhammering, and that's where they were doing the construction. And I'm saying, I said, and then my computer was taken, like right at this exact time. Not soon, like the room, then the computer disappeared. So where's my computer? My computer's gone. Thing after thing after thing happened after that meeting. And I said, you gotta be kidding me, man, because this is sort of supposed to be a mainstream place. Like, this can't be real, you know? Now, I want to tell you something else that I noticed there that I think is true. And I tried to ask about it in there. And I got under a lot of heat. First of all, it told me that I know that there was no reason for me to say this. And second of all, that I was kind of demonized for asking the question. But it was very clear, but it's not even a question. That I would say about 99% of the people in there were of the Jewish religion, but also that they were religious. Now here's the thing, like, look, I grew up with people that, you know, look, I'm half Jewish, half Catholic, and I grew up with Jew. But look, I never knew any religious Jewish people and things. I mean, it was just, I said, oh, that's so interesting, you know, because I thought, I mean, it makes sense, because they're into psychiatry, like, I thought it was interesting, is all. I didn't think anything. But I thought that was really interesting. And I asked about it, and people said, like, where are you getting that from? I mean, even the staff, where would you get that from? That most of the people here are Jewish? I said, they are. What are you talking about? They are. They said, I don't know, how do you think that? Would you take a poll? So, okay, fine, so I won't ask again. But okay, then I saw a few things, and I said, wait a minute. First of all, they had a Passover dinner.